Portland, Oregon never fails to deliver content for a guy like me. Suspect accused in 2 Portland standoffs identified after arrest Wednesday, police said. We're mainly going to watch a video today because there's a bunch of footage on this, and KGW from Portland did a really good video on it. Let's watch that video. We're going to get into this. Some of this is what I want to point out is why in the downtown cores of these big blue liberal cities, businesses are having a tough time. Employers are having a tough time keeping employees wanting to be in this downtown mix. Let's jump on into it. Here we go.
Portland police put on protective masks, then deployed CS gas. Moments later, they arrested this man on Northwest 21st and Hoyt. Sonam Sherpa captured this video from his restaurant across the street.
I'm glad everyone's safe, and I'm glad no one got hurt. That's the most important part.
Officers tried to arrest 44-year-old Raul Nava Jr. Monday night on an ID theft warrant. He'd been living in this tent, which police cleared, removing 2 knives and a can of bear mace. Police say when they approached him Monday, he ran, threatened them with a knife, and sprayed one officer with mace. Police responded with less lethal bullets, sending the guy running toward outdoor diners.
Jeez.
A picnic table during a 3-hour standoff with police. Eventually, uniformed officers left, opting instead to arrest him another time, which came Wednesday in a big way.
They had used a robot, and there was a whole SWAT team, and it took, this looks like a lot of people to get into custody, this one person.
Police say given Monday's events, they had to come up with a unique plan.
Surround the tent so that he couldn't run like he did on Monday. That was our concern, that he would be out in the neighborhood running around with knives. And
they must have had all hands on deck, because I know this district, this precinct does not have a ton of personnel to go out on shifts, right? They must have brought everybody in to make this happen. And I'm spitballing here.
And other weapons.
I'm glad it's over.
Graham Kraft runs William Temple House near the standoff site. He'd just finished serving food pantry guests when police moved in.
I hope the person taken into custody gets the help that they need,
He's living in a tent in Portland. He's not getting the help that he needs. He needs to be incarcerated. They need to get him off drugs, and they need to get him some mental help, but he's not getting the help he needs, and he won't get the help he needs because this is Portland, just like Seattle, just like LA, just like San Francisco. We allow the crazy people on drugs to just run around willy-nilly doing their thing, and what ends up? Shenanigans. Yeah.
And that we maybe this drives home the importance of de-escalation.
We have a crisis on our streets.
Police Chief Bob Day pointed to the mayor's plan of ending unsheltered homelessness. He says this case is one example of why he supports it.
Particularly starting with the removal of tents and tarps, which do provide a place that can conceal behavior that makes our jobs much more difficult and certainly higher risk.
This neighbor says the man at the center of this didn't seem to bother anyone except police. He talked with them after Monday's incident and before Wednesday's arrest.
That's what he said. He says, I'm fine. I feel good. I had a good night's sleep. And I says, well, maybe in the next couple of days you won't have a good night's sleep.
You'll be in jail.
3 days. So, Catherine, now that he is in custody, what else do we know about the suspect here?
Well, Raul Nava Jr. was booked into jail late tonight after he went to the hospital for a medical evaluation. Also, he's facing several new charges, including a
shocker
assault on a public safety officer and unlawful use of a weapon. Back to you.
Thanks, Catherine. Appreciate you staying on the story over the past 3 days for us. First to breaking news in Northwest Portland, where police say they have a suspect in custody after a brief standoff that ended within the last 20 minutes. The second standoff with the same man in the same neighborhood in less than 48 hours.
The first was Monday night and ended with police deciding to walk away and not make an arrest. Catherine Cook is live for us in Northwest Portland. Catherine, give us an update on what's happening where you are right now.
That the suspect that was involved in...
Christine and David, police have just taken the gentleman into custody. Here with us live is Sergeant Kevin Allen with an update.
Right now, he's actually on his way to jail. where for the past few hours now, we have been at this location. There were some streets blocked because of the operation here, and we were using the Special Emergency Reaction Team and the Crisis Negotiation Team, coupled with the Major Crimes Unit from the Detective Division, as well as Central Precinct Neighborhood Response Team and patrol officers. So it was a pretty broad operation, and I'm going to have the chief speak to his priorities and the reason we devoted so many resources to this. But the short version is that we established that the suspect was in a tent at this location, 21st and Hoyt. And the Special Emergency Reaction Team used their vehicles. They have armored vehicles that they use to move in, surround the tent so that he couldn't run like he did on Monday. That was our concern, that he would be out in the neighborhood running around.
Guys living in a tent.
And other weapons. So the priority was to get him contained. That was very successful, kept him in the tent. And then we slowed things down, used time as a tactic, used our crisis negotiators to try to communicate with him and do everything we could to resolve this in with the least amount of force necessary. There was some tools that were used, including OC canisters and CS gas. There was also EDU robots that we have in place here that were also utilized in order to...
This is against a homeless guy who typically runs around without a shirt, but has a knife either down the back of his pants or just on a scabbard on his back. One guy.
To make sure that everything was resolved in as safe a manner as possible. And my understanding is there were no injuries as a result of this. So
this time,
available for questions. Commander Hughes will be available for questions, but I'm going to have Chief Bob Day step forward and have a few words.
Risk on Monday, there was risk today, right? And we can never eliminate risk. Our job is to try and mitigate it as much as possible. So we made decisions on Monday that we will carefully review and evaluate as to whether or not we believe those were the best decisions at the time. But I'm always going to defer and trust in the judgment and leadership of...
Look at this guy.
On the ground doing the work.
Just whacked out of his mind.
But that does not mean that...
Oh, there he goes. There he goes. Oh, yeah.
If another response was available.
That's pretty safe.
We have heard from numerous Portlanders who appreciated the fact that we stepped away on Monday night, that we took the approach that we did. But I also am sympathetic to the fact that we have a lot of people in this neighborhood, businesses and so forth, that were impacted directly. And our stepping away produced a period of time of concern. And I want to be sensitive to that as well. And
got a nut job.
Taking all that in.
You got an effing nut job, living in a tent, running around with a knife, who is clearly out of his GD mind. But this is what Portlanders want. This is what Portland wants. They want some crazy whack job with a knife to be allowed to live, because we don't want to take the risk of, well, if we end his life, then we can't be responsible for that. Back in the day, you should drop the hammer on this kind of guy. Absolutely drop the hammer on this kind of... He's a drug addict. He's got something, mentally whacked out of his mind. He's living in a tent and he's in Portland. What more do you need to say? The guy is a total unhinged whack job. But Portland, because of its misguided compassion, goes with this thing as, don't want to hurt anybody. We're just trying to de-escalate. If I'm a citizen and I'm a business owner, I want the guy taken out by whatever means. I want the rest of society to be safe. I don't want the fact that this one Looney Tune basically has the city captive during his freedom period, which was from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And even on Wednesday, they further de-escalated and just allowed him to go, and then got him when he went back to his tent, which made total sense. But you got basically 3 days where a known absolute whack job on drugs is running around with a knife. So we're going to risk everybody's safety. We're going to risk people's wanting to go downtown. We're going to want to risk people going to eat pizza at this one place he was out in front of. You're going to risk all that so that your misguided compassion, because you've allowed a bunch of nut jobs to live on your streets and take drugs. Here you go. Take all the drugs you want. It's the greatest thing ever. This is the best thing ever. Portland's so great. We're so progressive. You're just having a bunch of nut jobs running around. This is why you have issues with your super high vacancy rate in your downtown core, with employers wanting to bring employees into your downtown business environment, why businesses are not able to make a go of it. The streets are empty because you got a bunch of nut jobs running around. It's not that hard to figure out. You clean up public safety, and that includes when the guy does something, he runs around, you take him out. You take him down, whatever. But Portland, you've dictated to your police, and your police have listened loud. You know, they're like, okay, all right, we get it. All right, we get it. You don't really want them to do any policing, except when it's convenient for your ideology of, well, I got to allow everybody to live. Everybody's got to raise, just a bunch of lunacy. Let's see if Bob's got anything else to say.
The remainder of this evening, at least, there will be a higher level of police presence. We're going to have our bike squad and folks up here doing outreach. We are circling back with some of the businesses that were impacted, trying to provide a better picture of why the...
Bob Day, he's chief police. Bob, you let a guy running around who is clearly whacked out on drugs just kind of wander through the neighborhood for a couple of days there. What's the dealio? Well, because Portland has dictated to their police department, they're not handling business. You can't handle business in a way that's effective for the whole society. You got to handle business for one nut job on drugs living in a tent in Portland. Make that make sense. Doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. Check this out.
Started around 5:30 Monday night, but an hour before, a woman who didn't want to show her face on camera for her own safety called 911 to report suspicious behavior.
Look at this guy.
There was someone outside my office that made me feel unsafe because I had to close up, and it looked like he had at least some sort of weapon in the back of his pants.
Yep.
PPB didn't immediately respond, and she ended up calling a friend to help her close up her shop.
Man.
But when she got home, she was shocked to see this video.
Look at this guy. Oh,
Just to see that it was the exact same guy, because I recognized his outfit and
there he is.
like how he looked.
It's like
PPB
Charles Manson.
Tased the suspect, and that did not work. So they switched to de-escalation tactics, where they brought in a crisis negotiator to talk to the suspect for more than 2 hours. In the end, no arrests were made, and uniformed police officers left the scene.
It was just kind of strange that nothing really happened, and they left. And I think that
That's what you want. That's what you guys want. Your citizenry in Portland. You don't want the cops to really take control and handle a situation how it might need to be handled. Take somebody down. You know what I mean? You don't want that because you have proven that time and time and time and time and time again. This is the end result of what happens to your policing, total hands-off approach, and somebody could get killed. I literally was messaging on Discord with somebody because the story is just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. The cops let the guy go because, hands-off approach. It's Portland. We love everybody. Even though that guy, the whacked-out nutjob on drugs with the knife, he could go around and kill a mother and kill her 2 daughters, young daughters. He could do that. And you know what? There would be this outrage, but it would be that story of, this is what you get. This is what you wanted. And that could easily happen. You got a guy that's out of his mind? We had a guy in Seattle stab 10 people in 37 hours. It's happening because you're not putting these people into mental institutions. You're not putting them in jail or prison, and you're certainly not putting them into detox to eventually get the treatment that they need. You're not doing any of those. So you're standing around going, well, this is a second standoff with the same guy who lives in a tent down the street, who's running around whacked out of his mind on meth or fentanyl. We don't really know. He's got a knife, no shirt. Did he even have shoes? I'm not really sure. Most of the time they don't because, clothing optional in the whacked out nut job, drug addicted world of Seattle, San Francisco, LA, Portland. the wardrobe is very limited. So this is planned. This is designed. And at some point, this plan, this design is going to go absolutely sideways. And then people are going to be left with, we need to maybe rethink the whole progressive attitude towards all this. And maybe we need to go back to how we did it before, when the cops could just handle things the way that they saw fit, instead of us getting involved with all of our, nonsense.
I ended up just like hanging out here for a little while.
It's a bit scary, actually.
A bit scary.
Because I physically saw that he had weapons. Maybe he's going through something, but I don't feel safe.
We're going to show you the moment an armed suspect ran through a busy strip of restaurants and bars in Northwest Portland this evening, all while trying to get away, it appears, from police. The suspect accused of using pepper spray on an officer and then lunging at them with a knife. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. Police have now left that scene, though the suspect is not in custody. Police essentially saying they thought it was best for them, meaning authorities, to just walk away. Catherine Cook is live.
All right, let's talk about that for a second. So the cops determined, okay, we're just going to do what everybody wants, which is this social worker, mamby-pamby. We're just going to walk away and, let him do his thing. I don't know what the right thing to do is. I'm not a cop, but if I'm in that city, I want that guy taken away. I want him hauled away, and I don't care how it gets done, because clearly the guy is a threat. He is a threat. He had 2 knives and bear spray. They all have bear spray, pepper spray, whatever, because they run around just basically lynching each other. The homeless do. They go after each other. They steal each other's stuff. They rape each other. I mean, it's mind blowing how progressive things have gotten, right? And this is progress, people. This is progress. A dude with bear spray and 2 knives is hunkered down in a tent in Portland and is allowed to basically survive 3 nights on the street because of progressive ideology of not taking somebody out. But in the old days, that guy would have been out. They would have rushed him. They would have rushed him and just boom, gone. Problem solved. Instead, we spend thousands of dollars on additional manpower, equipment, everything. Then you've got businesses that for 3 days are like, okay, the guy was running around on Monday. He's still out there all Monday, all Tuesday. And then Wednesday, he has another episode and they don't arrest him then. They don't take him down then. The odds worked out in the police favor on this one. But in my opinion, and I don't think it's a hard opinion, this guy could have taken anybody out along the way. What if he would have grabbed on Wednesday somebody and just slit their throat on the sidewalk? Well, we had to de-escalate. Now, how'd that work out for you? Not that good. But this is what Portland as a city wants. They want this kind of ability for people to just do whatever the F they want and have no real consequences from a standpoint of, well, if you wave a knife around in the downtown core, you might get shot. You might get shot. That might be a very real reality. And the problem is that as a society, we're just allowing this to happen. You live in a tent, take drugs, don't wear clothes, knives, they're all good. They're all good. You know what I mean? Just this mind-numbing ideology of progressive results in this. And then you got a nut job running around.
Witnesses on how this all played out. Catherine.
David, police say the man was armed with 2 knives and pepper spray and was hiding from them in that bus shelter. Police ordered him to drop his weapons and then fired less lethal rounds toward the man, breaking the glass in the bus shelter. Witnesses capture the moment on cell phone.
Seen this about 10 times, but it just goes to show this guy's out of his mind.
The man then runs to a restaurant patio where he stayed for the next 3 hours. Police say this all started when an officer recognized the man as someone who had a warrant.
Oh!
He contacted the suspect, who then sprayed the officer with pepper spray and lunged at them with a knife before running off. Again, police say less lethal
Scotty's
and a taser did not work to stop him. After several hours, the incident commander determined there was no longer a public threat and backed away, leaving the suspect outside the restaurant. We talked with
other than the fact that he had pepper sprayed a cop, glasses broken out because there's basically a rubber bullet firefight. He's running down the sidewalk, scaring the F out of anybody trying to have a little Scotty's pizza, scares the F out of them. He holes up with a picnic table on its side so that he's got this barricade. And then the cops are like, all right, the folks of Portland, this is what they want from us. They don't want us to really do our job. We'll just walk away and we'll come back and get this guy when, he's calmed down. That strategy worked. Maybe this is policing of the future. I don't think so. Because if I'm down there in downtown Portland and this is going on, I want it taken care of before anybody else can be impacted. I just do. And businesses do as well. You can't have a bunch of nut jobs running around and then say to folks, hey, come down and visit Scotty's Pizza because, we're mostly safe. We had that one guy who, that 3-day ordeal where we had multiple standoffs and, it didn't really end in an arrest, but it's okay. He was taken into jail for 24 hours and then released. And he seems to be doing okay in his tent with, his knives and his pepper spray and his drugs. And he's okay for now. Come in and have some pizza at Scotty's. It's all good. It doesn't work out that great, does it? No. People that run businesses don't want that. Consumers don't want that. The patrons don't want that. The food vendors don't want that. Anybody in the whole chain of business in Portland doesn't want that. But here you are.
One woman who was sitting outside during the incident.
He ran towards us, but then the police were surrounding us and their guns were pointed towards him, which was like next to us. So we got really scared. We got down on the ground and we crawled into the restaurant and hid inside the bathroom. We were then told that we needed to evacuate the place because the entire restaurant was glass in case they shot. We had to leave. So we went through the back area into a neighboring bar.
Jeez. I mean, it's just shut down because of one guy that's a whack job on drugs, mental issues, running around with weapons. Take that guy out. That's my thought. I'm sorry.
The standoff community members checked on the man and gave him food and money. Police say they'll get together and determine a plan on how they'll be able to arrest him at another time. David, back to you.
He's still out there, Catherine Cook.
For now, he's still out there. We're just going to allow a complete nut job to run through our community. It should be fine. It should be fine. This is what we're working with, folks. We are working with a society that doesn't really understand public safety. You got to let the cops do their thing. If they determine they take a guy out, then you know what? You got a bunch of nut jobs running around your city. So you're going to have some people get taken out. I'm sorry. That might sound harsh. That might sound difficult. That might sound problematic. But the reality is, in order to save more people, you're going to have to take out some one-offs, meaning some people that should never be on the streets on their own, period. Anyway, we dumped out all those mental institutions and then we said, hey, drugs are fine. Go for it. This is the end result of that. And this is why the downtown cores are having a difficult time, especially in the big blue liberal cities, because what more do I need to say? I don't think I need to say anything more other than you might want to rethink allowing the police to just do their damn job. Period. All right. That's it for me. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.